Miami? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's bring my boy Zander in. See, hey, Zander, 700 likes. We did it.
I don't know what's going on. I just clicked on. I'm like, wait a second. 700 likes. There's not even 700 people watching us. But I'll take it, right?
I know, man. That's good, man. Hey, thank you, Mark Holmes and Philly 500.
Yeah, right.
Hey, who won that yesterday, you think?
I think Philly 5-0, man. Look, I actually love Mark Holmes, and I respect him for coming on here. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you turn into like resident Philly during the segment. But I'll tell you what, even Dallas fans can't defend the Cowboys. They stunk out loud for 30 years. There's no defense. And I think that's what Mark Holmes is experiencing. And I respect him for riding for his team. And I'm not going to knock him for that, but I got Philly 5-0 up 3-0.
You have a convincing knockout too, right?
What, with the Super Bowl?
Well, the convincing knockout and what he's done the last 3
years. Yeah, on the segments. Okay. Yeah, I think Philly 5-0. I mean, the thing I love about Philly 500 is
his expressions.
That's what, but you know this better than most do. That part of content, part of is entertainment, right? Is being so. Not only is he like the ultimate Eagles fan, but he's extremely entertaining when he does it, and I love him for it. It's great stuff, great content, great debate. I think the segment's been really good on the show.
Hey, man, I just learned something that we have been. These are all some of the likes that have been built up behind.
Yeah,
and now they've been added.
Yeah, we can call it that. 715 we're up to. That thing is running.
Hey, baby, let's keep it going, baby. Let's get this thing to 1,000.
Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys make it possible. You guys make the show
what's
grow.
That thing? Get this. I told you before, Austin Eckler from the Chargers. What's that called, guys? Bombed me when I was on like not TikTok, but that other platform. And he bombed me. And there was like 27,000 people that came into my show. And Twitch, it was Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch does that. Yeah.
And they kind of bombed me on that. And I was
a Twitch guy. I'm a YouTube guy.
I stopped using it too. So anyway, all right. So we got more Miami Dolphin players coming out and talking shit on Vic. And you're hit like this kid. I don't even really know who Cam White is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys.
I have no idea who he is, but dude, this is now the 8th player.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Like 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird how many are coming out. It doesn't change my opinion. It doesn't make me change my opinion. Jordan Davis spoke today after the OTA. He spoke to the media. He had pretty good commentary on Vic Fangio. He just said, no bullshit. He's all football all the time. And, I guess in the modern world, that doesn't rub every player the right way. It doesn't bother me at all. And then we have your favorite guy, Paul Domlich. He comes on Birds 365, though, and he's
really good.
The point of the story, though, he has been covering Vic Fangio since before Vic was an NFL guy. This is 40 years ago.
USFL?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, USFL, when he was a starter in the USFL. And he's like, look, people are always going to have their gripes when you get a room full of dudes.
Oh, absolutely.
Together, right? There's always going to be. But I've never heard anything like this on Vic Fangio. And it's kind of weird. He goes to Miami.
Correct.
It seems to be a lax culture down there. Not knocking them or anything, but
I think it shows in their play. I think it shows in their play, though, Zander, when the Dolphins get on the field and they have to play against physically dominant teams, they get killed.
Right. I agree. And Miami does have a lot of talent on that defense, by the way.
So let me ask you this. What do you think the relationship is between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni? I brought this up here with some of the best duos, and I got them like in the middle of the pack around 15 because I don't really know. And obviously the best is the one in Kansas City, and there's a lot of great relationships that you see that are in the NFL because I think that relationship is – Zander, if it matters in NFL history, doesn't it matter now too that you have to have doesn't it matter now that you should have a great relationship with your head coach?
Yeah, this is the one. It's funny we keep going here because this is the one. He is, I think, the biggest question mark on the entire team this year. Not linebacker, not defense, not Vic Fangio, not Kellen Moore. It's Nick Sirianni. And I don't know, but I don't think Jalen Hurts likes that kind of attitude. Just when I see Jalen, when I hear him talk, even when I met him in person, he's another guy. He's not a bullshit kind of guy. He is a straightforward guy. He's about his business, and that's what he wants to do. And I don't think he likes the other stuff that comes with Nick. Now, John does to say Nick's very animated behind the scenes. He's loud at practice and stuff. I don't know what's going on with our likes. They're not.
We got 1,000 likes.
I don't know.
Holy shit! This is freaking unbelievably great.
Look, my hands are here, everybody. I'm not doing it. I don't know what the heck's going on. I promise. It's not me. I don't know.
I know who it is. It's LJ. He's doing it.
Yeah, it's we can put it on LJ or Mark.
We got 1,000 likes. Yeah.
Mark Holmes sent the Cowboy Minions, and he said, "Go like Dan's show, make him grow."
Hey, wait a minute. Watch this. I guarantee you, after the show, I'll have 10.
Yeah, YouTube. What? No, they'll do that. They'll recorrect it. They'll be like, "Oh, there was a glitch in the system. All this BS," and they'll recorrect it. But anyway, back to the point on Jalen and Nick. I don't know. I mean, maybe Jalen is all right with it. Maybe if it's like, the opposites attract type of thing where Jalen is okay being the adult in the room. It's not who I would pick. I probably would have moved on from Nick and just reset the slate, but they didn't. And now we're here. So I'm hoping Nick can put whatever didn't work last year aside. Hopefully he knows what that is. And reignite what worked for them in 2022, because they were a good pair in 2022. It seemed like they were going to be one of the top duos in the league when you talk about coach and quarterback. I don't think they are that right now, but I do have confidence, or at least some level of hope. I know hope is not a strategy, but some level of hope that they'll get it right.
What if they get to the NFC? I'll tell you what. Let's do this. What if they get to the NFC title game? Does that correct all the ills of last year for Nick? Because then you know what you say, Zander? Even me, I would have to do this. Dude, 2 of the last 3 years, he got to the NFC title game. I mean, you got to tell me here that, then you look at 23 and you go, okay, there was a misstep in the organization. Organizations make those missteps.
Yeah.
Does he correct it all if that happens?
The NFC title game, I think you have to, right? Like, I know we've kind of gotten into this mode of expectation where it's like Super Bowl or bust, but look, it's hard to win in the NFL. Like, even going to a conference title game, winning a conference title, those are big feats. So maybe if you're Angelo Cataldi, you're not going to be happy, but I think you have to be. I mean, what are you going to fire a coach after making it to the NFC title game? No way. 2 of
the last 3 years. I'm not doing
2 of the last 3 years. And by the way, he won one lot, in 22. So I don't think that it's weird. It's a weird situation because if the Eagles succeed this year, Nick's not going anywhere.
Would you be disappointed if he succeeded and he kept his
job?
No,
I wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
No.
Good.
Do I live in Vermont? No, I do not live in Vermont.
Vermont. It's maple syrup.
What is in Vermont?
Yeah, he sounds like he's from Vermont, eh?
Vermont. Do I look like a Vermont guy to you?
Come on. No. Okay, Zander, I'm going to play this game with you. So do you believe that this team is a Super Bowl contending team?
Yeah, I do. I mean, and I think a lot of it is to the NFC. Like, we even did this exercise, right? Like, the NFC is not that great. Even the quarterbacks. Like, you got Dak Prescott as your best quarterback in the NFC, PFF. Come on. There's not that many. We're not dealing with a major gauntlet of teams. The Eagles definitely have a great roster. You're right, though, about the Niners. I mean, they're not a better team than the Niners.
I didn't realize that they were that great.
Yeah, they're not a better team than the 49ers. But that doesn't always mean
wait a minute. Better roster.
Yeah, better roster. But better coaches, better team, better whole organization right now. I would say the 49ers have us beat a little bit. But that doesn't mean they're going to beat us when it matters. You know how it is. It's a war of attrition. There's luck. There's all sorts of stuff that goes into winning in the NFL. So I do think the Eagles are right there with them. And remember, they're also playing with Brock on a rookie contract. This is where we have such an advantage with Howie Roseman. Our team is built like a team that has a rookie contract quarterback. Yet the quarterback's not on a rookie contract. The wide receivers are paid. The offensive line, everybody on the offense is paid except for the right guard and the center. That's it. Everybody else is on a second contract.
Let me
Think
ask
about that.
Let me
That
ask.
most teams can't do that.
Absolutely true. Here, let me throw this at you here. And by the way, to your point, one of the ways that the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots were built, Zander, was because Brady was on a 6-round contract, and also Seattle had Russell Wilson on a 3rd-round contract. Right. So they were able to build the equity up on both sides of the football during that time until those contracts, and they had to pay him. And what was the number one thing that both those quarterbacks did? They didn't take the super max deal of whatever it was at those respective times. And that leads me to this. Listen, the way I dropped it on you, and again, like you always tell me, the way Big Sil says shit may indeed sometimes aggravate people, but you look back at that Devontae Smith deal, though. Eagles versus Ravens play Super Bowl bets now. All right. How about this? He's going to make, as an average, 18.4, and these guys are signing for $32 million. Waddle's going to get $32 million over the next couple of years. So if you look at that, let's just say next 3 years and not 5 years. You're talking about putting in the trash can almost $40 million.
Yeah.
And by the way, this has nothing to do with Howie or the Eagles. They did the right thing.
Yeah, I'm going to take my Eagle cap off, and let's just say I am in Devontae Smith's corner. I don't understand it. Like, I wouldn't advise anybody I'm close with to be like, yeah, just take a haircut for that company. Like,
hey, Zander, right? $5 million is one thing. 13.
Yeah, I do think that's a bit embellished, because remember, he had the 4th year in his deal. He had the 5th year option, and he had the extension on top of that.
Waddle only signed a 3-year. They didn't pick the option up.
Exactly.
They gave him the extension.
So they kind of combined it all together with Devontae. But to your point, the overall number does come down to be the same thing. Now, A.J. Brown played 2 years of his 4-year deal in Philly and got a new deal. So, like, if Devontae shows out, I bet you Howie goes and pays him again before he actually sees all that money, or he does.
I happen to agree with that, but I'm going to go like this to you. Look at what T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb are doing. They're not even at OTAs right now.
Yeah.
Because Jefferson's there.
Who's that a knock on?
What's that?
That's not a knock on Devontae Smith.
No. I'm telling you negotiations of what they're doing. That those guys aren't showing up until they get their money. And T. Higgins hasn't signed. I don't think he has to sign that offer sheet of that franchise tag. I thought he may have to do it next week. I think that June thing, because your 90-man roster has to be set. So I'm not sure about the particulars. But all the guys' contracts that are up, Zander, they're not at camp. They're not at OTAs.
Yeah, but what's a better guy to have in your locker room if you want to win Super Bowls?
I'm not debating that. I'm asking you, and
but I think that's part of it.
Okay. Do you think? Wait, you think it's worth putting $40 million into dollars, and if you don't win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years or 4 years, you think that was worth burning $40 million?
No, not for Devontae Smith, but nobody in their right mind would say that was worth it for Devontae Smith. But I'm saying the kind of guy that would sign the deal Devontae signed, he's a guy that's perhaps more committed to the football team, more committed to the program, more committed to the success of the team. You're right. He took a $40 million haircut, but this isn't the Devontae Smith Eagles. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. So if it makes the team better, then good.
$40 million to be an Eagle. I'll tell you what, there is the ultimate.
I don't even like the Eagles that much. $40 million. Come on, man.
Let me tell you this. That's the ultimate Eagle hometown discount. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. I mean, Brady took hometown discounts. This guy, kudos, like you said. Hey, you know what? He is probably that guy. Now that I saw that house that he lived in the other day, I believe he does live in a place like that. I think this guy remember when he won the Heisman, Zander, and he had that entire community wrapped around him, and they were waiting for him when he won the Heisman, and they were celebrating when he got that. That whole town was cheering for him. Everyone loved him. I believe he is that guy. He probably looks at $20 million and goes like this. That's all I need. I don't really need $45, $35 million. That's not who I am. That's your boy, A.J. Owens, showing up to like charity events on a Harley Davidson and like, being the guy, the diva guy in the locker room, dude. Hey, by the way, how many likes are we up to now?
1,062.
Yeah, keep it going.
Wait, no, real quick though on Devontae, because I do think, based on what you said, you're mostly right, because his total guaranteed when he signed that deal was $51 million. So I think Waddle's today was 76. Some of that other money's kind of funny money in the NFL. You know how that can work.
Did you see what the Tyreek Hill thing is at the back? It's $45 million. That's phony money. Last year was contract.
How much of that was guaranteed? That's why
the Dolphins are not paying him 45 base the last year's contract.
Yeah, no way. No way. But that's why I'm like looking at the guaranteed. You could argue Smith took a $25 million haircut, not 40. Because his guarantee was $51 million. Waddle's was
25,
76.
40. All right. Sorry. Okay.
That's a lot of millions, but still.
25 million can get you a long place right now, can it?
25
Especially
million.
if you're Antonio Brown.
I get 25 million. You guys will never see me again.
That's you know what, Zander? I'm on Peanut Island down in the Keys. You'll never see me ever.
I got a changed identity. I got a new name. I got
right. I'll look like Howard Hughes. Fingernails grown like crazy.
Exactly.
My hair's crazy. My hair's crazy as it is anyway. All right, let's play this game. I'd like to get your perspective on this. We're not looking at better teams. We're just looking at rosters. Okay?
Yep.
The 2022 Jalen Hurts and the 2024 Jalen Hurts. Are you better now?
It's tough to say because we haven't seen it. But if you're going, the 2024 Jalen Hurts would technically have to be graded on 2023, which is the last we've seen. So no, he's going to be worse. I mean, I think he's going to get better, but until we see it, you would have to say the truth is the 2022 one's better. Right
now, I'm even willing to relent on this. Well, if you want to go and balance it out and go, 22 was great, 23 wasn't quite as great.
I think Hurts.
How about
Hurts
incomplete?
gets back to form this year. I think Hurts gets back to form this year. I really do. I hope, but I do. I think the team is set up for him. I think they're going to use Barkley, kind of get back to that run style team, ground and pound a little bit more, take some pressure off Jalen Hurts, give him some routes underneath where he's not throwing the long ball constantly. Kellen Moore is going to spread the ball around, hopefully get Goddard more involved. I think the team is set up for Jalen Hurts to succeed this year. I think he's going to have a big year, and I hope he does. And every Eagle fan should, because we go as far as he goes.
You sure do. There's your boy. Miles Sanders, 22 with 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. And Saquon Barkley, 2024. Are you better today than you were on that Super Bowl roster in 22?
You're better today. You have a more talented player at the position today.
Okay. You're better.
You're better. I would say you're better.
He's a better blocking. If anything, say they're equal in numbers. Just say they're equal.
He's a more talented player. You're talking about a roster. I'm saying I'd rather have Saquon Barkley over Miles Sanders every day.
Okay, fair enough. A.J. Brown, 22. A.J. Brown, 24. Are you better today?
I'd say you're better today. He seems to have continued to get better, continue to I don't know if you saw the pictures he was posting. The guy he's a statue. He's built. He's playing his part. I know you always say you're in the NFL. You should be built. But it certainly seems like he's continuing to get better. He's also still pretty young. Sills. He's like, I want to say he's 26.
26.
Yeah. So this is a guy that is nowhere near the come down of his career yet. He is still ascending. I think he's going to have his biggest and best year yet in 2024.
Devontae Smith, 22. Devontae Smith, 24. Are you better at wide receiver 2?
You're better again. Devontae is another guy that's continuing to get better. 22 is his second year, coming off his rookie year, by the way, when he was the lead guy. So that was his first year alongside A.J. Brown. Probably a little bit of a learning period there too, right? When you go from wide receiver 1 and Queasy Watkins is your 2 from having A.J. Brown next to you. So definitely an acclimation there. I think he's another guy that's getting bigger. He's growing into his body more, more NFL ready, true professional. I think he's getting better.
Wide receiver 3, Queasy Watkins, 22, and really no one has defined himself
Nobody,
yet
right?
at
Yeah.
wide receiver 3. However, that being said, will anybody be an upgrade over Watkins, who a year ago, only in that position, there were 36 catches at a wide receiver 3
right.
anyway. So whoever you put in there doesn't matter.
It's funny because you were better in 22 because Quez Watkins, I know we hate him and I'm not a fan either, is better than Paris Campbell by most metrics. Remember, Quez Watkins is a success for him. He was a 6th-round draft pick. So a guy that gets, you know what I mean? But
that's a really good
listen,
take.
he had drops in the Super Bowl. Like he didn't even make the plays we needed him to make when it counted. So I don't care about his talent. You could argue that it's a push because the guy cost us more than he gained us in the Super Bowl.
Tight end, Goddard 22, Goddard 24. I say you're worse.
Yeah, I say you're worse. I think he's taken more injuries. He's a very, very physical player, like almost too physical. The one he got hurt last year from the stiff arm. He was stiff arming somebody. So I think you got worse there, but I don't think it's so significant that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think he's an older player.
There's a couple players that are in that category that we're going to go through here that are in.
So I would agree though. Dallas of 22, that was more like prime Dallas Goedert. This is a little bit probably on the outside of that.
Jordan Mailata, left tackle. Jordan Mailata today in 24 versus 22. Are you better?
It's a no-brainer here. He's better. I mean, the more football he plays, the better he's getting. Still pretty young guy. So, I mean, he was playing rugby, man. Like he's logged another 2 years of snaps. He's a top tackle in the league now, which is an incredible story. Yeah,
he's elite.
Elite.
Landon Dickerson, left guard, 22. Landon Dickerson, 24. Left guard. Better today than then.
He's better again. He was a rookie in 22, right? Or was he a second?
I think was it 20?
Yeah, 21 was his rookie year because he was the Devontae Smith class. Yeah, so he was a second-year guy there. Better now. Boy, I tell you what, this roster is very similar.
He's elite.
Landon Dickerson?
Yes.
Yeah, he's elite, but guard play isn't as important as tackle play, you could say.
Got 20 million reasons I would tell you. I don't know about that one here. Hey, center, Kelsey, 22. Cam Jurgens, 24. You better today than you were in 22.
Yeah, this is an obvious one. You're obviously not as good as you are. Now, I do think it could be comparable physically. Not from all the other things Kelsey did, though. I think Kelsey was calling out blitzes. He was helping Jalen Hurts. He does a lot that I don't know. I think Cam will be able to do it, but I think there's a time, there's an acclimation period. Jason Kelsey was in the league for 12, 14 years, where he got that or however long his career was.
You think Landon will help him?
Yeah, Cam? I think he would. I remember
Landon, wasn't he a center also?
The thing I like about that part of it is Cam did play right next to Kelsey last year. So like he got a chance to not only watch it from the sideline or hear it on game tape, like he was literally right next to Jason Kelsey during the snaps. So he did get to see it up front, but I can, that doesn't mean that much. I can watch you do a talk show every day. I'm not going to do a talk show like Dan Sileo. You know what I mean?
No. He sees, but to your point that I think it's important is that you do see he saw the blueprint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is show enough in the chat. Appreciate you being here, show enough. That's exactly how I feel about it. Physically, I think he could be comparable. Experience is obviously not there yet, and that with experience comes some other stuff that hopefully Cam will pick up.
Absolutely, man. Okay.
Says, please don't do a talk show like Dan Sileo. LJ, you're here every day. It's the best talk show on YouTube.
Well, LJ, don't worry. You'd be stalking Zander too, so don't worry about it. Isaac Seumalo, 22, left guard or right guard. Tyler Steen, who played 72 snaps last year.
Yeah, your significant downgrade here. Isaac Seumalo is a good player. He was very good when he was in Philadelphia.
I thought he was an impact in Pittsburgh last year.
Yes, he was. He was a great signing for them. So you're definitely downgrading here. But again, I don't think it's not a position that moves the needle for me. I think if he can be competent in there, remember he does have Hall of Fame Lane Johnson. Jordan Mailata, Landon Digger, like this offensive line, if these two guys are so weak that they bring the whole line down, then they're really weak. And I don't think that's happening with Jeff Stoutland.
Here's an interesting one. Lane Johnson, 22. Lane Johnson, 24. Are you better today than you were in 22? And I know you may hate to say this.
No, yeah, you can't say you are, right? Lane Johnson was.
But is this the Goddard thing where we're talking 96% versus 94%?
Yeah, I think it is because Lane Johnson's still playing at a very, very high level. Yeah. He's still
I would make the argument he's still top 3 right tackles in the league.
Yeah,
maybe top 2.
Yeah. Who would be your one? Like, is Lane Johnson not the best right tackle in the league?
Probably.
I'd have to look. I know there is some really good tackle pairs right now in the league. I'd have to look.
Oh, Cleveland.
Cleveland's good. Wait,
Baltimore has a decent tackle tandem.
Yeah, give me 1 second and I'll pull up Drake May, by the way, quarterback 3.
Dude, you see that? Quarterback 3 in New England.
Boy, is that brutal.
Oh,
yes, my God. The OT duos, top PFF put out a top OT duo. Number 1 was actually Tampa Bay with Tristan Wirfs as your left tackle, and then Luke Godecki, I think his name is. Yes, your right tackle.
Phenomenal, those two.
Yeah, and then Lions, Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker. That's a great tackle duo.
Wait a minute, the Eagles aren't number 1?
No, they're actually number 4. I would have probably put them 2 or 3.
2.
They have the Vikings 3 with Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. They're good players, but they're not Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. And then Jets, Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses are right behind the Eagles. So, boy, there's a lot of good tackle pairs, but Eagles are right there at the top. They're in the top 3. Right
I got the Eagles 2 in that. I mean, for duos, they're
do you think the Bucks at 1 is correct? I don't know much about that Luke Godecki guy, honestly.
No, the Decky guy had a really spectacular year, but I don't think he's put enough of those years together. And he came on really. Here's what happened. Lane didn't have that great back half of that year last year. That kid in Tampa did. And that's what elevated him. Yeah. So did the guy in Detroit, and it elevated him too. And that's why
Tristan Wirfs is a good player too.
Lane not having an A+ year instead of an A year, kind of they docked him on that. And I thought it was a little bit too harsh in how they graded him out because what did he only give up? 1 sack last year or some shit like that?
Yeah, I'm not. Come on, I'm not.
How many sacks in 3 years? 1?
I'm not going to overreact to the PFF thing. Lane is fine. Yeah.
Okay, now here we go over here to the defensive side of the ball.
This is where it gets ugly, right?
Oh, completely ugly. And this is where you see the difference in the Niners and the Eagles. So to your point, and you have me thinking a lot now that in 22, they ran a 5 front. 34, they've got a depth chart listed with a 34, but John's telling you that they're going to run a lot of that.
He's talking a lot about the 5 front too. I think they're going to be in the 5 front a lot.
You know why I think they're realizing it now that the backer play, they're not going to have enough people there to be able to play.
And that's why they're talking about a lot of big nickel too, where they get 3 safeties on the field.
Yep, absolutely correct. So let's try to match them up then. Brandon Graham had 11 sacks in 22. Milton Williams. You think he gets 11 sacks this year in 22? Now, again, I shouldn't say that because I'm not talking about production. I'm asking you if you think your roster's better at that defensive end position with Milton Williams and Brandon Graham 3 years ago.
I don't think he's getting 11. I think Milton could have an increase in production. By the way, especially if they go to that 5 technique, like you might see Jalen Carter start getting a lot more sacks, even at the DT position. If you got Jordan Davis clogging up the middle and you have Milton and Jalen rushing the passer along with Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat, you don't even need Bryce Huff to be Hassan Reddick if you're playing the 50 front. I mean, that's a lot of guys coming at you and a lot of people to block. Jordan Davis is a big dude. Like he's tough to block. So I think that could open up a lot of sacks for the DTs. I don't think Milton's going to 11 sacks though.
Are you better?
That's a little lofty, right? No, you're not better. Brandon Graham 2 years ago was playing at a really high level. Still at 33 years old.
I heard you guys say something the other day, or somebody said something, and I didn't realize this, that PFF had the last 8 years of Brandon Graham's rankings. He never was out of the top 3.
Yeah.
Hey, man, he may not have the numbers to put next to those grades. that means he's in the right position all the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't make mistakes in games. You can count on him. You can move him around a little bit from a 3 to a 5 to a 7. Dude, that's awful versatile.
Yeah, and you know what else, Dan?
Really,
I'll ask
really
you about
impressive.
this. Oh, excuse me. I'll ask you about this, Sills, because you're a guy that played at a high level. John says, and I think he has a point. He's not reporting this or anything. He's just speculating. This is Brandon's last year, right? He's been very open about it. It's his swan song, his send off. Can you play him more? Like, assuming he's healthy? Like, think about it. This is it. He's going to leave it all out on the field. He might play a little bit more snaps than he got last year, where he's probably trying to preserve himself.
His situation is different to, like, say, when Leroy Selman quit. Leroy quit because he over a back. This guy's quitting because of length of time, which means this. What does that tell me as a former player? The knowledge and the part of the game that he has seen, he has forgotten more of the game than I'll ever know of the game. And so he's seen, Howie Long used to say to Zander all the time, just when I have figured it out, my body breaks down.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's happening here with Brandon, is that, hey, his reactions are going to be a tad slower. He's going to be a step behind compared to
he's going to want to do something, but he's not going to be
right. He's going to know where to go, but he's not going to be able to get his hands up quick enough. And that's where he is in his career. However, I will say this. He knows how to cheat over a little more in that 7. Yeah. Slide over there.
He's pretty good against the run too. He's pretty good run defender.
Actually, I'm actually getting to become more accustomed to having him in there, because I thought about, like you said, would I want Calais Campbell in there? Would I want Sue back? Those are things to think about as you're getting out of training camp. I think those are signs out of camp, not into camp. You know what I mean? Because I don't need to beat Dominic Sue and Calais Campbell up in camp. I need them guys ready for me at the front half of the season here. Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis. Are you better in 22?
You're worse. I mean, you're worse here. Fletcher Cox is a near Hall of Fame player. He's an Eagle Hall of Famer. He was playing tremendous football until I know, and the
6.5 sacks last year.
I know the thing that annoyed me a little bit about, not everybody, but some fans are so tough on Fletcher Cox in the last couple of years, and I'm like, I just don't get that. Like, this guy has been a Hall of Fame level Eagle for us. He won a Super Bowl. I mean, he wasn't the only reason, but he was on the Super Bowl winning team, and he's still contributing at a pretty high level. Even last year, he played almost 700 snaps. That's pretty wild for a 32-year-old, a 33-year-old, whatever it is. By the way, I think he had more in the tank. Like, I was kind of surprised to see him hanging up.
I think he did too. I
don't think he wanted to go to another team though, and I think he knew that they needed to get the young guys in the
could have came back. I hear the Steelers wanted him. Carl Dunbar told me, the D-line coach in Pittsburgh.
The Steelers love all the Eagles guys, dude. It's because Andy Weidell's there. He's a former Howie Roseman guy. They draft now similar to the Eagles. They do a lot of stuff. They got Sayamalu there.
They wanted him. They still the Steelers still want him. How about this one? Just before I continue here, how would you like to have Aaron Donald for the playoffs? Would you be interested in something like that, bringing him out of retirement?
Yeah, but I don't know if he would. I would love it though. What's something like Aaron? I mean, I don't know.
So you think Jason Kelsey's got the whole game thing out of his system, though?
The thing that strikes me with Kelsey is what Barrett Brooks said at one time, and it's when you want to know when an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman is going to come back to the game, watch their weight. You can't shed weight if you want to come back and play ball.
Did you see Joe Thomas?
Yeah, he
shedded. Have you ever seen Joe Thomas, the left tackle for the Cleveland Browns? When you look at him today, you're like, what happened to him? Guy lost like 165 pounds.
Yeah, and Jason Kelsey's already apparently lost over 30.
Okay, he's done.
Like, he's done, right? He's not coming back and because he was already an undersized center.
He's done. He's done.
So I think he's done.
Hardgrave, Jalen Carter. Are you better in 22 or are you better in 24?
I think you're better. I wasn't the biggest Javon Hargrave guy because he was very, very one-dimensional. Jalen Carter is not that one-dimensional, and Jalen Carter certainly has a higher upside.
I'm with you. I think Carter's better.
I think Carter's better. Yeah.
Get this.
The 49ers overpaid for Javon Hargrave.
I'll take 7 sacks of Jalen Carter and a run stopper versus a non-run stopper and 11 sacks. Does that make sense?
And sacks don't always tell the whole story. So,
and he's younger.
Yeah. Sacks don't tell the whole story. Like your impact on a game as a defensive lineman is not only quantified by the number of sacks you have. I think you know that. You're a defensive tackle. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Hits on the QB, all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Pressures, all sorts of stuff.
Are you better in 22 with Reddick or Bryce Huff?
You're better in 22. Yeah, that's an easy one. Come on, man. We're projecting on Bryce Huff.
All right. Let's go linebackers. Are you better in 22 with TJ Edwards or Nakobe Dean?
Your light years better at the whole linebacker position. Who was playing next to TJ
Kaiser White or Devin White?
Kaiser White played good for us that year.
117 tackles that year.
He was a solid player.
You see how many tackles he had last year? You see how many tackles he had last year in Arizona?
You know, he joined Gannon again, right down in Arizona.
Had 120 tackles.
Yeah. I still don't know why they let it. It's not like those guys got paid huge money. I think Kaiser White's making $5 million in Arizona. And TJ's making $7 million.
They still didn't want to pay him.
It's weird.
Left cornerback, Darius Slay in 22 or Darius Slay in 24?
All right, you ready for this? Darius Slay, the player, is not what he was in 22. But Darius Slay might be in the perfect scheme this year to accentuate his talent at 34. He's not a press cover corner anymore, but he's going to be damn good in that zone they're going to play.
Okay, so are you convincing yourself of this?
No, I'm not convincing myself.
So you think he's better today than he was in 22?
I think the Vic Fangio is better than Jonathan Gannon.
Okay. How about this one? Gardner Johnson, 22. Gardner Johnson, 24. Are you better today?
You're better today if he stays healthy. It's a big if, though.
Then again, I didn't know what they got when they traded for him in New Orleans in 22. I didn't know he'd lead the league in NFL in interceptions, making $800,000. That's a Brock Purdy deal.
I would say push there.
Push. Look at you. It's the first Philly push right there. Look at that, man.
No, didn't we have one other push? No, we didn't.
Hurts.
Hurts was a push. No, Hurts wasn't a push.
Yes, he is. He's incomplete, or whatever we did. Because most important position. Great. All right. Hey, Epps or Blankenship? Are you better then or today?
Epps was better, so you're better then.
Here's an interesting one, and I can't wait to hear how you answer this. Were you better in 22 at cornerback with Bradbury, or are you better now with Mitchell at cornerback in 24? And by the way, before you answer, Bradbury was second team All-Pro.
Yeah, you were better with Bradbury there. Bradbury had a great year in 2022. Great year. I mean, fans were fired up. They were pumped.
So remember, we got him at
the end of the offseason. You know, going into that season, we got him toward late. I don't know if it was June or July or even August. We got Bradbury
right. Oh no, it was after June, after the Giants cut him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, James Bradbury.
Yeah, when they remember the Giants, they released him after June 1 because of the cap hit and how he swooped him up and actually gave him some pretty decent money on a 1-year contract when they signed him. I mean, it wasn't horrible money. And he, now what's your expectations for Mitchell?
High. Very high. I mean, you got it. They have fully committed to this zone defense, this bend but don't break defense. Now they're drafting guys who are zone corners, Quinyon Mitchell, to perfect this defense. So he has to be great. He's not my style of corner, though. I love the guy that gets in your face and says, beat me. You know, he's going to be physical with you at the line of scrimmage, and he's going to make you beat him. That's my type of corner. But that's not what the Eagles are playing right now.
Avonte Maddox, 22. Avonte Maddox, 24.
22.
I'll tell you what, man. Honest to God, I think Avonte Maddox could be one of the biggest surprises this year on that team if he's healthy. Dude, he wasn't cut because he sucked.
I know. He was cut
because of availability.
But now he's run into the issue of they have young guys that they want to get on the field, and they're going to prioritize them over Avonte Maddox. By the way, Isaiah Rodgers has been playing phenomenal at OTA, apparently. I know it's just helmets and shorts, but it's good to see because the guy missed football for a year. Sometimes that really takes some time to get reacclimated. Apparently, he had another really good OTA today. Now, Ringo is back out there. So without Slay there today, they had Ringo in Slay's spot, and they had Isaiah Rodgers on the outside again. And then without C.J. Gardner-Johnson there, they had Maddox playing at safety.
Huh.
Yeah. I think that's what they're going to – they're going to play him at safety, I think, a lot, especially if Isaiah Rodgers shows something. Remember, they want to get Cooper on the field. So
I think they're going to play him in nickel, and I think they're going to play him both at safety and also on the numbers.
Right. And I'm wondering where Rodgers fits in. I don't know.
You know, he may be the starting other corner until Mitchell gets acclimated.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because get this, Zander, we're going to know by Friday on Bradbury because that's June 1.
Yeah, right. And next week, by the way, is the mandatory minicamp where if he doesn't show up, he's going to get fined $100,000.
He's not. That's not happening. He's going to get cut Friday.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, because it's only 4.3 on the cap. You know, Howie then has Howie still has $24 million to deal with. So, encompassing this roster here. Again, not a better team because we don't know that, like you said. Do the Eagles have a better team today in 24 than they did in 22? Or wait, a better roster in 24 than they did in 22?
Yes. I think it's I actually truly believe it's a push, but I'm not going to give you push as an answer. And when you have guys like AJ Brown who's gotten better, you have guys like Devontae Smith who's gotten better. You have a left tackle, weak side tackle for Jalen Hurts has gotten significantly better. You've upgraded at the running back position from a talent perspective.
You're only talking about one side of the ball, though.
Yeah, I know, but so real quick.
So wait, are you comparing it to the rest of the NFC? Is that what you're looking at?
No, I'm comparing it to the 22 Eagles.
Okay.
They're definitely not the better defense. I mean, remember, we had 70 sacks that year, man. That was a record year on defense. You're not going to have a record year every year.
Shittier opponents than also 23. Remember that too.
So, but I did the exercise with John this morning that we did on Tuesday of strength weaknesses on the roster. Do you remember what you had? Because John had, and I had already done it with you, so I waited in a little bit, but I let John kind of give us his strengths and weaknesses. He had a unanimous strength at every position group on offense. Line, tight end, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, all strengths. He had defensive tackles a strength, cornerbacks a strength, but slightly, barely. Safety is a weakness, linebackers a weakness, and edges are a push. So what my takeaway was, you have two strengths on defense, you have two weaknesses, and you have a push. They're a middle of the pack defense.
But here's my problem.
Can't we win? Don't you think we can win though with the middle of the pack defense?
No. And I'm going to tell you.
You know, if the Eagles have a 15th defense this year, up from 30th last year, you don't think? I'll tell you
why John's flawed. John's looking at the starting 11. He's not looking at the group.
Yeah, but John's right, man. I'm sorry.
Dude, you lose Jalen Carter. Who's your other? If you lose Jalen Carter, who's your interior? Who's your Jordan Davis? Who?
Yeah, I mean, but you can say coulda, woulda, shoulda on anything.
What you think they're going to get? They're going to go through the season with no depth. 22 had depth. When if Fletcher Cox got hurt, Sue came in. Okay, who's the
I think
dominant
they're going to bring
on
in
your
Calais
team
Campbell
now?
for what it's worth. I hope they bring in Calais Campbell, but
Who's
John
your
is right though.
dominant?
You're not going to say the wide
How
receiver
about if you
is
lose Devin White? Who plays linebacker? Zach Bond?
N'Kobe Milk Carton.
Right. Look, this team is flawed in depth everywhere except the O-line. Hey, let me ask you this. If Saquon goes down, you're okay with Will Shipley and Kenny Gainwell?
Kenny Gainwell, I'm
John's
all
not
right with.
looking at position groups. He's looking at the 22.
Kenny Gainwell, I'm
Tight
okay
end
with.
position. Who? Cal Katera? If Goddard goes down, how'd that work out for you?
No, we have CJ Uzomah this year, who is an upgrade at backup tight end. Stop. Brown Calcaterra did nothing. Jack Stoll did nothing. CJ Uzomah can block better and can catch the ball better than Jack Stoll and Grant Calcaterra, who's shown nothing.
You get 2 receivers out of 6. They're great.
Yeah,
they're great. Don't lose one.
We're gonna
because you don't have the quarterback is proven. If you lose one of those guys, he can't spread the ball around.
You told me last time I told you how good our receiver 1 and 2 are. You know what you said? You said
they're good.
It makes you predictable, is what you said.
It did, but they're great.
Yeah, well, John brought up something today, and I said to him, boy, I wish I said that back to Sileo, so I'm going to say it to you now. Tell that to Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys, that they were predictable.
You're talking about 3 Hall of Fame players at the triplet position, quarterback, back, and also wide receiver. You're not talking Hall of Famers here.
Well, we're talking about guys that are on that trajectory.
Well, we're talking about guys who won 3 Super Bowls, too, in 4 years.
Yeah, but they were a predictable team. Guess what? Stop it. Just because
you could stop that team, and they did last year. You couldn't stop the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. They did get stopped last year, but my point is I'm not gonna go through. I'm not gonna say that the wide receivers are a weakness because
the group is
wide receiver 6.
The wide receiver group is.
No, it's not.
So you keep 6 receivers.
And you're going to look these dead in the eyes, and you're going to say
2 guys are. Hey, don't get hurt.
Yeah, well,
because your quarterback's not good enough,
man. You can say that about everybody in the NFL.
No.
Yes, you can.
No. Because there's quarterbacks that spread the ball around and win ball games. Hey, who's Jordan Love's star receivers? I can't remember any. He threw for 4,200 yards. Who? Nico Collins down in Houston? Come on, man.
Yeah, but you're not going to sit here and tell me that
to be able to do it.
I get your point, but your point doesn't make the group a weakness.
So wait, 2 great players and 4 suck-ass players. You got a great group there.
But the 2 that are great are 90% of the production.
Thank you for telling me. I'll make sure I put that in my game plan.
All right, good. That's my point.
No, well, we stopped you last year. We'll do it again.
That's my point. We're playing Green Bay in the open. Green Bay, we're going to throw the ball to A.J. Brown.
Okay.
Stop it.
We did.
Ready? Green Bay. A.J. Brown's going to run a slant right here. Stop it.
They did.
They're not going to.
Last year, in the last 6 games, where was your boy A.J. Owens?
Did Chauncey drop a super chat? Or did he just fleece us? Oh, no, we did. We missed one.
They put up 30 points last year on average, didn't they? Yeah, and lost 6 to 7 in a row. 6 to 7 in a playoff game. Yeah, congratulations. You put up a lot. It's
going to be like 20, 34.
You put up a lot of points and a lot of numbers for everyone to get paid, and you sucked ass at the end of the year as a team.
The year is 2034. Big Sills is like 70-something years old, and you remember when the Eagles collapsed, went 1-6 down the stretch? Shut up, old man. That was like 20 years ago.
Remember when Jalen played great 27 games ago? He was so freaking good. I couldn't believe. Hey, real quick. How do you think that Packer game works out?
I had them losing that game.
It's still going 15-2, right?
No, I had them going 13-4.
13-4.
13-4 is they'd have to perform, but that's actually realistic. This schedule is not crazy hard.
No, it's at the bottom end. I agree.
And even if you lose to Bengals, who I don't think they're going to lose to. I like Joe Burrow, but I don't like the Cincinnati Bengals. Sorry. And you lose to the Ravens, where I do think the Ravens are a really good team. That's going to be a tough game. It's still very doable.
Did you fucking call me geriatric, Sileo?
I didn't call you that, but that's a good one. Let me get my.
Hey, wait a minute here. What are our likes up to now? Please tell me.
I don't know what's going on YouTube today, folks. 1,094.
Keep it going.
This is the most liked show on YouTube right now. The most liked live show on YouTube.
Let's go, man. Okay. 1,500. Let's see if we can get it to 50. Let's go. Sue's like $5,000. Well, Zander, you got a better team in 20. You got a better roster in 24 than you do in 22. I thought, hey, I never thought it would be you, Fredo, that you would say that you got a better roster now than you did during that Super Bowl season, when you know that side of the ball and the other side of the ball is limited with depth issues.
Yeah, you're still a little bit hung up on defense, I think. I'm my basic philosophy is
you think Kansas City won that Super Bowl because they were a better defensive football team?
No, but they also didn't have a good offense. They were throwing the ball to Rashee Rice.
Okay. Well, somebody had to stop the Niners.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Chiefs' philosophy was defensive last year. Their defense won more games for them than Patrick Mahomes did, which is pretty insane to think about.
Do you know what I think happened with them? I think the defense carried those young receiving and that young offense to the midpoint of the season. And I got to tell you, I think that Eagle game was the transformation game for Kansas City, because they went on a roll after that. I think they lost one game after that, or 2 games after that, Zander, where they went on a roll after that Eagle game, and the receivers got better. And that team got way better. Than it even kicked it into another gear in the postseason. They did such a great job.
Yeah. Remember though, the 49ers had a good defense too, and until Patrick Mahomes got in the way of it.
You know what he did? Until he went like this. Well, I need to start running RPOs, and we're going to do it. And he had 64 yards on running the football in that game. Okay, maybe if you implemented that a little bit, maybe your football team would have won some of those games at the end of the season instead of putting their head between their legs and crying out loud.
You think our defense is going to cost us in those big games? You really do?
No, I think your offense will. If it sputters and has some 3 and outs, and he has a turnover. Right. Say watch this. He could go like this year, Zander. I think the room and the margin of error is even less this year than it was a year ago. You've lost 18 sacks that you're hoping from somewhere you find it. Okay, I'll be optimistic and say you're going to find it somewhere. Then you got to supersede that to help your secondary, because they're so young in the back end. If they do this, say they have 3 series of 14-play drives like they did in 22. I think that was the key factor. They always had 4 in a game, and they ran teams off the scoreboard and the clock. They killed. How many times in 22, Zander, did you do this? Holy shit. The Eagles had the ball 90% of the time in the first half. Remember, we kept saying they allowed teams to come back on them because they got these tremendous leads with these 12-play drives.
Hey, even the Bucs game last year in the playoffs, the Eagles didn't have the ball at all in that first half.
Because the Bucs didn't even have a run game, and they ran the ball on them. And so the whole thing, not counting that, but this year, they've got to have at least 3 or 4 14-play drives, or 8 to 12-play drives. Let's be fair there. If they have that, they'll keep that defense at the other end, and they'll allow them to mature, get better. That's what I thought was going to happen to that defense last year, but the offense started sputtering, and they stopped running the ball. Then they became predictable, and it imploded the defense. Once the defense lost their run defense, Zander, it was over.
Dan, you know what a piece of content you did last week? And we didn't have a chance to talk about it, but I want to talk about it. And we can do it tomorrow if you don't want to do it today.
We can do it right now.
It was my favorite piece of content you've done this entire off season. And it was what the Eagles need to do to get back to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I thought every single thing you said, I think it was a list of 15 things or 10 things. I thought every single one was spot on. And I'd like to run through that. Maybe that's something we can do another day because it's a great topic, but it's something I definitely want to run through because.
Well, we'll do it again, but just a couple things.
Well, just recap. If I asked you,
okay,
if,
just recap.
If the defense is going to cost us, then what do you think the Eagles have to do this year to do it?
Okay, to me, I'll look down out of here. Dallas Goedert's got to be healthy.
It's for me
because that's the middle of the field. He's your only target in the middle of the field.
Don't they need to use Dallas Goedert more though?
Okay.
Like that's one thing that drives me a little bit nuts about Jalen sometimes.
He's got to be a factor. Here's something else. The coordinators have to be successful. They have to have an impact on Hurts, the spreading of the football around, and Vic, most importantly, has to be an impact on that. The upgrade just can't be better, Zander. They got to be better, like 22 better, like that kind of stuff. Jalen Hurts, he's got to protect the football more.
Has to.
Get this. Did you hear what I said? I didn't even say put numbers up. He has to protect.
And that's what you said last week, and that's why I loved what you said. You were like, forget the 4,000 yards. You can't turn the ball over. And I couldn't agree more. And this whole season, in my eyes, really hinges on him. And the coordinators are tied into that. Kellen Moore's tied into that. But if you get the most out of Jalen Hurts this year, it's hard for me to see this team not at least winning a playoff game or two. At least. If you have Jalen Hurts playing like 22 or playing at a comparable level and getting the most out of his talent, how could this team fail? Because if he's playing well, that means your receivers are playing well. That means your tight end's getting involved. That means Saquon Barkley's getting involved. That means your defense is not tired because the offense is driving the ball down the field. Like him, to me, is the catalyst. And it's obvious he's the quarterback. I'm not breaking news here by saying that, but I would just be so focused. And I think that's why I'm happy with the offseason because I think they've done that. Like I think they got Kellen Moore because they thought he was going to force Jalen Hurts to take the next step, being a great passer, getting the ball around, getting Dallas Goedert involved, spreading the football. And then they brought in Saquon Barkley to take off some of that bell cow load off him.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a marginal quarterback in college turn into a superstar passer in the NFL? Can you name one?
Much. I mean, I'm sure you could come up with somebody better than me.
I think Marino got better.
Tua was a better passer in college than he is in the pros. He was a great passer of football in college.
That's common.
Right. It's the opposite way, though.
That's common. Joe Burrow kind of looks the same he did when he was at LSU, doesn't he?
Yeah, he threw the ball well at LSU.
Justin Herbert may look better. Brady won 12 ball games, dude, his final season at Michigan, and they won an Orange Bowl game against Oklahoma. I mean, he didn't suck his last year. His body sucked. His body of work, he didn't have enough of it. That's why he went later.
Yeah,
but
I actually
he was
agree
a
with
good
this.
passer.
The unfortunate part about my comment is that I still do agree with this. I just don't think the defense is going to be that bad that they cost us this time. I think if they're middle of the pack and the offense takes a step forward, I think that's enough to put us over the edge.
Another thing I said, Cam Jurgens has to be good. He doesn't have to be Jason Kelsey, but he has to be able to help on blitz pickup, especially internally where Hurts struggles a little bit. I'm not asking him to be the third best center in the league. I'm asking him to be a top 5 guy in the league. And I think he can do that. I do, because you know why? Jeff Stoutland's there. I think he has. Look, I mean, look at the guys that are in the huddle. Look at the guys. When you're watching film and you're Cam Jurgens and you got Jeff Stoutland at the projector, and I'm saying old man projector, and you got Lane and you got Mulata and you got Landon and you got even Micaiah Becton, you're all in that room together, and you're a young player like Steen and Juergens, and you're hearing them guys talk. I can't tell you what a classroom that is to be in. It's like being in some place in Harvard, listening to professors talk about how to play the position.
Yeah, it's true.
There's nothing you like when you're these young receivers in a wide receiver room with A.J. Brown and with Devontae Smith, and you're in there listening, you're not saying a fucking word. You know why? When these guys are talking, you want to absorb every single thing that they're saying, even Slay.
Yeah.
With Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. You're just shutting up. I also
you know what else I have a lot of I'm putting a lot of stock in, and maybe I'm wrong too, but I'm still going to do it regardless, is you asked me like what my expectations are for Quinyon Mitchell, and they're sky high. You know what part of the reason for that is though? He's going to have the chance to go up against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith every day in practice. Like there's a little, and I am an Alabama guy, so I do, but like that's kind of what Saban used to say. I don't guarantee you playing time, but you're going to play the very best in practice. So when game week comes, nobody across the aisle is going to be as good as the guy you played in practice.
There's a contradiction here though.
Well, what is that?
Okay. So you just said playing against the best players in practice like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So between Quinyon Mitchell and Teron Arnold, who has had more of a experience of playing against the best guys in practice and now lining up against St. Brown and the kid Williams that's up there in Detroit
Jameson,
now.
Yeah, former Bama guy. He transferred to
Okay,
Alabama.
you tell me who's had more and more prepared to be an NFL cornerback than a guy playing against Northern Illinois. I get he's playing against age, and you're right. It's a factor. But Teron Arnold's been doing this his entire life. He doesn't play against scrubs. He plays against great players 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's tough. Because I loved Arnold, but they didn't.
Is Mitchell maybe a better athlete? Does that always dictate that?
I don't even know if he is that.
I don't either. By the way, they were only
athlete.
2 picks apart, right? 22 and 24.
Yeah, no, they were 2 picks apart. Yep, they were 2 picks apart.
Okay, so wasn't like
Eagles had their pick, you know?
Right. So to me, and again, Zander, it's more of a preference than because we have to see them play. Obviously, May 30th. We got to see these guys line up. But for me, my preference was, okay, so you're playing A&M, you're playing Tennessee, you're playing Florida, you're playing all these guys, and you're on practice. 7 days a week, you're playing against the greatest players on the planet.
Yeah.
That guy's not playing. He'll play Ohio State, who, by the way, put up 70 on him. I mean, he's playing Ohio State on a schedule that plays a bunch of nobodies. And he's not going against pro wide receivers.
Yeah, I think the big problem with Arnold was he didn't fit what they wanted. And that's what I don't like, because we don't know if they evaluated Mitchell as the best corner or the best fit. Because Arnold is a great man corner, and he's also great in run support if you want that from your cornerbacks. The Eagles haven't shown they want that, and they're looking more for that zone. They're playing that bend but don't break defense. Now they got Vic Fangio. They're not going to change from that, and Quinyon fit that better. So that's I am with you on this, where you're right.
You're right.
Arnold's probably coming into the NFL more NFL ready.
That's
but
right.
That also doesn't mean everything. I mean, Josh Jobe was a former Bama guy. Eli Ricks is a former Bama guy. These aren't all
Sauce
guys.
Gardner NFL ready? No.
Yeah. No. Well, he was.
He was.
He didn't play it in college, so it's not the end all be all. But I do agree with your point of Arnold is definitely a guy that got a lot of reps in practice. Good reps.
A couple other ones I brought up. Nick has to stay out of the way. Just get out of the way. I mean, my question will be, Willie.
Nick needs to maintain the locker room. Nick needs to maintain emotions.
How? Maintain the locker room how?
I don't know how. I'm not a head coach in the NFL.
No,
but he did it in 22. He needs to do it again. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Can I tell you my biggest problem with him is
Joho Arnold is Terrion Arnold, the cornerback who was drafted right after Quinyon Mitchell was.
Can I tell you his biggest problem? He over explains shit at those press conferences that
I
drive me
know.
crazy.
I listened to you talk about this on Friday, and I'm like,
He
he's
just
so right.
over explain, dude. This is why Belichick fed him shit.
I
Or
know.
Nick gives him
And
rat
reporters
poison.
hate it. That's why reporters like Nick, because he's up there freaking yapping away and
Even
he won't
his
shut up.
daughter,
You
her
remember?
adorable daughter, goose
Oh
on him.
my God, I'll never forget. I was young growing up during the Andy Reid years. I'm 26 years old, so I don't know how old I was, but I used to always chuckle at my dad, who would watch all the press conferences and watch the Eagles games and watch Andy Reid, and he would always say, Andy Reid saying the same stuff, says the same stuff every time. I got to be better. I put him in a bad position, blah, blah, blah. And now as I'm older, I'm like, I get why Andy was that way. I get why he did it completely. And he's still doing it in Kansas City. Bill Belichick does it. Meanwhile, Nick's up there trying to,
Reinvent the wheel.
draw a chalkboard. Drawing a
this,
chalkboard for you.
This is how you catch yourself in a lie that you don't get this. Do I think that Nick meant the lie about Seattle, that they threw that pass so that they could? No, I don't. I think he was doing that off the hip, and he was thinking he was covering his guys.
Yeah.
And then his guys threw him under the bus by going, that's not what happened. We didn't really have a play there. And all of a sudden you're looking at it going, he went through a 5-minute detailed deal that he didn't need to do. That loses faith and trust in a locker room. And when you start losing, Zander, all of that multiplies.
I agree. I do wonder, though, if there's an element to that the players like, where like you feel like your coach is going to.
Then why would they go, no, that's not what happened?
Yeah. I'm fighting an uphill battle with that one.
Yeah, no. So one of the things is, dude, just stay out of the way. And I'll do one last one here. Bryce Huff has to supersede Hassan Reddick. He has to do 15 sacks, something like that, to make it worthy. Because if he just gets 11, that's not an upgrade, bro. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he has to be great.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be Hassan Reddick. He's just, I don't, and I also don't know if Vic's going to use them like we want them to use them. I think Vic is going to be dropping these guys at hook flat defenders a lot.
I bet you Robert Seiler falls in love with Hassan Reddick in New York, and I bet he's in the top 5 in sacks this year.
Yeah, but why don't they pay him? I know they don't have to, but
they don't have to.
Yeah.
No, it's a great point. Why? Okay, if you feel that way,
like you always say, though, if you love me, yeah. All right, show me you love me. Don't just tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my brother. That was absolutely great stuff there. So you think we're better,
by the way, about Hassan Reddick? I'm still pissed off, by the way, about Hassan Reddick.
How come? Hey, can I ask? I do want to ask one last one here. How come you can't ask that question?
Yeah, this is what we talked about on Tuesday. I was pissed. And I brought it up to John again on the show on Birds 365, and he kind of brushed it off and started defending Howie. And I'm like, John, dude, this is the GM of the football team. You guys have a chance to talk to him one time, and you're going to shy away from the question that everybody's asking. You got rid of our best defender for a bag of peanuts, and they didn't even give him the contract. And John's like, Hassan wasn't going to play here.
That's not true.
He got all his sacks here. He wanted the new contract. And I'm like, come on, man.
That's not true. Javon Hargrave played with a 1-year deal remaining.
Yeah, his point was, once you paid Bryce Huff more, Hassan Reddick wasn't going to play out the last year of his deal. Now he's proceeding to play out the last year in New York. I guess he's betting on himself, but I still don't like, even if
why
that's
wouldn't
the
you
case,
bet himself here?
Yeah, but even if that's the case, it's beside the point. Why are you not able to push back or at least ask the question of the GM? Is Bob Lang really standing there, though, and saying, hey, you submit your questions to me. You can't bring up Hassan Reddick, the question that every fan has right now.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
No. After the fact, pressing the general manager will be the conversation, because what a PR guy will do is he's not going to tell you exactly on a question, but what he's going to do is pressing the GM on an answered issue. Why are you continuing to badger him? And what they'll do is they'll attack you on it, and you'll move off from it. Or what that guy McClain does, and him and I have gone back and forth a little bit, but I'll tell you this: at least what he does is he'll manipulate the question and re-ask it in a different way and he'll get shut down that way. He's probably, in my opinion, the best guy in that market.
Yeah, and I would actually go with Mike.
That Selke
Mike
kid is good too.
A lot of fans don't love Mike Sielski, but he's another guy that, he will ask the hard stuff. But they have him covering a lot more other sports. He's not in there as much. Like Jeff McLean's dedicated to the Eagles for the Enquirer. But yeah, it's kind of sad. Like I like the old style reporting where you're going to be in there and I'm a fan. Like I don't want there to be stuff wrong, but I don't want you to be afraid to ask the question. Or not be allowed to ask the question. And
why is the general manager saying it's you're not it's not an informed question when you're just asking, hey, what was the genesis of you moving Reddick to New York for a draft pick 3 drafts from now?
Yeah, and I put this more on the Eagles than I do on the reporters, by the way. Like, remember, the reporters are feeding families. They're putting food on the table for their families. They're not going to
playing the game.
They have to. That's my point. Like, I think this is more messed up on the Eagles than the reporters. Like, if you're going to say, I'm going to take away your key fob.
Compromises their integrity.
Exactly. And if you're going to take away my key fob, like, sorry, I understand why they wouldn't ask the question if that's what they're threatened with. They need to get in there. They need to work. They need to make a living. They need to earn money, feed their kids, feed their family, do the things that men need to do and that even women need to do in this world. Like, no,
I can hear my wife in my ear going right now, hey, congratulations, you're right. Got fired today? Oh, good, Yeah. Hey, by the way, one more thing here. Kenny Britt. How about the Bucs still throwing shots today? This morning after OTAs, KJ Britt is ready to – here, where is that? KJ Britt, this is – here it is. This is Todd Bowles after today's OTAs. KJ Britt is ready to lead our Bucs with Levante David, especially after the nightmare of a year ago. He's in the right place. He does the right things. And he is one whale of a football player. We're glad to have KJ Britt, the man who took Devin White, yeah. Devin White's position. What do you make of that? Man. Bucs also put his jersey on discount down to 22. I mean, they're pissed off at him.
Well, they're going to put the jersey on discount because they're sitting there collecting dust.
But why are they still talking shit about a player that's been out of the building for 5 months?
They didn't name drop Devin White, did they?
No, they said after last year's nightmare.
Big Phil's added in the name. They didn't name drop him. I don't care much. I just want Devin White to perform. Forget the
No. I'm asking, why are the Bucs? I think the Bucs are butthurt over this whole thing that this kid didn't perform.
Well, yeah, they paid him $17 million and then put him on the bench.
Yeah, I think they're butthurt over this thing here. And the kid left them hanging going, I don't want to play here anymore. Hey, do you think it is that? I don't want to play anymore. You don't want to pay me? I don't want to play here. Or do you think it's ability?
I don't know if it's ability. The guy was drafted.
I think it's I don't want to play here.
The guy was drafted 5th overall as a linebacker. Like, how often do you see linebackers go in the top 5?
That's a great take.
He's obviously a highly
dude. I can't think of a linebacker in the last 10 drafts that went in the top 5.
I know, I can't either.
That's a great take.
So he's obviously talented. I just don't know if
you got to remember something, dude. Hey, Devin White came from a place he probably took a pay cut when he came to the NFL, playing at LSU. Yeah, sure. Zander, great stuff, my friend. By the way, before we get out of here, where are we in the magical likes?
1,109. I don't know what is going on.
Keep it up, folks. Let's get it up. Hey, what I need is 1,200. I want to make sure that we're there in case something gets correct. 1,200.
Oh, we can smash 1,200. We're at 1110. I'm looking at 1110.
100. All right, Zander. Great stuff. By the way, Xander's been killing it. Hey, your show's killing it too, man. I check it out as much as I can in the mornings. Keep up the great work. You're doing a great job. By the way, folks, too, this guy's doing all the production. He's doing the show. This guy's the jack of all trades here, and he's the heartbeat, in my opinion, of what we do here at JAKIB. I appreciate it, brother. You know I do. what
Yes,
you
sir.
do
Thank
here
you
every
so-
day, and you don't get told that enough. And by the way, folks, you know what? Some of the things that you may read about old JAKIB, you might want to look at some of those comments that are made by certain fellas. They're not true. I'll leave it at that. Hit the
And
like
anything
button.
that's been said about you, I have heard. I have been emailed it. I have been spam messaged it. I have been hate emailed it. Fire Dan Sileo. We're not doing it, folks. Keep plugging along, big shows. We love it, man.
You
Thank
got it,
brother.
man. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.